Welcome to the Fellowship. I'm recording this on Saturday the 19th of July 2025. Again, a lot's happened in the last week. The worrying situation about the Epstein files over in America. I'm not going to go into that and all the detail, but if the MAGA movement collapses, then the mass deportations won't happen. And if they don't happen in America, then there's a good chance they're not going to happen in the UK. And of course, the change in the law to allow 16-year-olds to vote the next general election. The Labour Party hoping to get all the brainwashed young children to vote for them. I've said in a few videos over the last few months that currently we are not voting our way out of the mess that we are in. And that is looking increasingly likely. I see Sadiq Khan is going on a state tour of Africa. The Mayor of London, a mayor of a city going on a state tour. Can't imagine why. I've been working around Leicestershire recently, and the stark difference between the small villages and towns in the county that still feel like England, still clean, still friendly, relaxed. And then I had the displeasure of having to go into Leicester itself, and that was a complete mess. I was sat in my car waiting for something that I'd ordered to be ready so I could pick it up. I was in the car for 15 minutes. And in that time, I don't know what part of Leicester I was in. I don't really know the city very well. But in that time, in 15 minutes, I only saw 2 white faces. But what I did see is I saw 6 individuals drop litter on the floor. Just let it go. In the same way you would brush off a bit of sand from your hands if you're on the beach. A complete mess, both physically and ethnically. I think it's time we start to push back a little more. I think it's time we stop being so nice. I picked up my new specs from the opticians the other day. It cost me £420. It's a lot of money, isn't it? I was talking to the chap who was going through it all with me, and a couple came up and sat next to me on the same bench. Clearly new arrivals. A Muslim man and his wife. And they were looking for some spectacles for his wife. She couldn't speak a word of English, apart from one word. Just one word. And that word was free. That's all she kept saying to the woman who was dealing with her. Free. And the woman said, yes, you'll get them free on the NHS. The good old NHS. The International Health Service. I was in the supermarket later that day, and I was looking in the dip section. And this chap came up And he said, "Oh, I love hummus. I love hummus." And I looked at him. I said, "All right, okay." He said, "Yeah, I love hummus. Have you ever been to Marrakesh?" And I said, "No." He said, it's great there. They sell hummus in big bowls and different types, different flavours." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, it sounds like you like the place." He said, "Yeah, I love it. I love it." I said, "Well, if you like it so much, why are you here?" "Let me guess. The benefits and the free healthcare." And he just put his head down and walked off. I'm not suggesting any form of violence or any form of anything it's illegal. But I think we need to start changing the tone and start changing how we accept things that are going on. We need to create an environment, just like the environment was created in London, where all the majority of the white British people in London just left the white flight. They left to Essex and everywhere else because an environment was created where they weren't welcome. You ever been into a strange pub that you're not sure about, not your local or wherever else, and you walk in and you don't feel welcome? Well, that's the environments that I suggest we start to create throughout our country. There's no laws to say that we have to talk to people, have to engage with people, have to be nice to people. And as I say, I'm not condoning violence or anything illegal, but it's a change of tone. We have to start creating an environment where it's obvious that England is for the ethnic English, Scotland for the ethnic Scottish, and Wales for the ethnic Welsh. Same for Northern Ireland. We're running out of time. The closer we get to that 2030 Great Reset, New World Order, World Economic Forum monstrosity, the closer we get to that day, the further, or rather the harder it's going to be to turn the ship around. We have to start pushing back on a daily basis. We also have to keep on talking to people outside of the echo chamber. But maybe it's time we also started pushing back and not accepting certain behaviours. England dies when we, the English, give up on her. And she's dying. She's in critical care. We have to stand up. We have to be brave, and we have to do our bit for England and St. George.